Okay, for those of you who were not in the meeting in our class time today, you can watch these in your submit notes. Those that were in class time, you don't need to watch this video. You can just submit your notes that you took in class today. So we had yesterday talked about different types of variables. Variables can either be categorical or they could be quantitative. Okay, if they fit in certain categories, they're categorical. Now, in categorical data, we're going to represent our data two ways. We're going to do a bar graph today, and we're also going to talk about a pie graph. Those are two ways we can represent categorical data. Okay, so our topics for today, we're going to make them, interpret them, and identify some graphs, also graphs that are deceptive. I think you'll see those sometimes. So here's some information. They did a survey of 25 to 34-year-olds in 2014. And here's the relative frequency. Remember, relative means it's as a percent of the data that way they took. Okay, so to create a bar graph, okay, you want to make your things here. On the bottom, we will have our categories: less than high school, some college, a bachelor's, and advanced. Those will be our categories. Then on the side here, we have our relative frequency. Now, with your relative frequency, you always want to make that 0. You can see it. If you don't start at 0, it's going to skew it a bit. Then if you look at our data here, it goes up to 28%. So I'm just going to go by 10%. So 10%, 20%, 30%. Okay. So this is 13B, I don't know, about right there. Okay, 13.2. Sum is 22.6, so 22.6 might be right there. Just kind of estimate it. 28 point whatever is right about there. 24 point between those two. And 10.6. Okay, so there's how you make your bar graph. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so to make a pie graph then, if we take this data, and then we want to make it into a pie graph. Okay, so if we looked at, okay, let's go back to this. Okay, I'm going to make a little chart of it. So less than was 13.2%, high school was 22.6%, college was 23.7%, bachelor's 24.9%, and advanced was 10.6%. Okay, so this is our percentage. Now, remember, a circle has how many degrees all the way around? 360. So if I want to know 13% of 360, this is one way you can work this out. Okay, so if I go to my calculator here, okay, so 13.2%, so 0.132 times 360 degrees. You can't see that, can you? Not too well on the camera. I can't get that. Anyway, okay, so what I'm doing, I'm taking 0.3132 times 360 degrees, and that gives me 47.52 degrees. Okay, so if I think about this, okay, if I go straight across here, that's 90 degrees. High school. Okay, 0.226 times 360 degrees gives you 1.36 degrees. Okay, and I'll keep doing the rest of them. 0.287 times 360 gives me 103.332 degrees. one comes up to be 89.64 degrees. This is 88.6 degrees. Okay. So I just kind of estimate these in here. 81. Okay, so that central here. So 81 would be at about there. That's cool. 130. And that's okay. So we did. We also want to talk about some bad graphs. So if you look at these two graphs right here, okay, what's not good about that there? So what they're doing is, so okay, here's, I'll go back up a bit. The high school statistics class were recently asked if they would prefer a pasta party, a pizza party, or a donut party. And here's what they came up with. So 5 people wanted a donut party, 18 pasta, and 7 pizza. Total of 30 people. So you can see here it goes up, the frequency of it goes up to 18 and 5 and 7. Now, does this really tell us what we want it to tell us? Pasta being very, very thin doesn't really tell us a whole lot here, whereas this is wider and this is wide. So if you think about the area of each of these objects, it kind of looks like the pizza is even more than all the others. But pizza was actually only 7 people. So you don't want to use 3-dimensional objects as you're doing that. Okay. Another thing over here, it looks like there's a huge difference between these, which there's a difference, but not huge. What you want to do, what they did here, is they started at 4. Okay. I once, our school I showed it at a faculty meeting one time. Not our current principal, but a previous one, had this as our attendance, how much it's decreased or something like that. But this was like 89.5 and this is like 89.1. It looked like there was a huge difference, but it was really only a certain point something difference between the percentages, because they did not start at 0. So make sure you have your graph starting at 0 with that. Okay, and that's what we learned today during class.